you look at the 90th hymn, it was saying, संत जनों मिल भाइयों सच्चा नाम समाल तोसा बंधो जिए का ऐथे ओथे नाम. And the thought process or the message being given was that in the human body form you have a potential which is not available in any other body form. Human body form can do something that transcends the dimensions. Other body forms can only do something that is within the dimension. And that's why the message was Tosa Bandho Jiya Ka Athe Othe Na. Do something which is not only valuable here but is also valuable in the other dimension. Because you have that potential. Dosa literally means the food. The food that you take. When we leave home, we pack our lunch to go to work. And in Punjabi, that word is dosa. You're taking dosa with you. So the message last time was, if you're taking something with you, and if that has a temporary lifespan of its own, then it's not going to help you in the other dimension. So why don't you think of taking something with you that is possible to transcend that dimension? But we don't do that. And the reminder was that the other body forms, other animals, birds, they do not have that potential, they don't have that possibility. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't do it. But you can. But you don't do that. Because you don't do that, you do exactly actually the opposite. And then what happens? And that's where the 90th hymn finishes and the 91st starts. It says, Mitha karke khaya kauda upajaya sad, which is the experience of every one of us, whether we honestly accept it or not. Mitha karke khaya. Everything that we do with an idea that it is going to be good for me. So it is always looked at as, I need it because it's beneficial. Mitha means the sweet. Literally translated, it says that you put anything and everything in your mouth with the thought as if it's sweet. Nobody wants to eat bitter. Nobody wants to taste bitter. Always the attempt is to taste the sweet. But that's a literal translation. The metaphor is basically saying that everything that a human does always thinks of a positive output, a beneficial thing to himself or herself. Take any example in life that we do, any relationship we make, any investments we make. I'm feeling very lonely, I need to get married. Okay, fine. And then within 6 months, the same relationship turns out to be, oh my God, what did I get into? What happened? I am married now, I need to have children. Okay. Why? It feels good. Little children running around, laughing, joking, playing with, like a little toy. And then the child falls sick. Now what? Now the same source has become source of pain. Child doesn't grow up according to your wishes. It's even now more painful. It doesn't matter which decision, which event you can talk about. Suddenly you see the other side of it, which is what is Gurbani saying. You do not see long enough, far enough. Mitha karke khaya, kauda upajaya sad. Kauda means bitter, sad means taste. So pick up any instance that you can pick up. It doesn't matter how holy you thought you were doing, suddenly you run into the other side of it. And so, oh, wait a minute, that's not what I bargained for. I need to bring a wife for my son. And you go through the motions and selections and huge humdum parties and bands and music and celebrations. Within a few weeks, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law are at each other's throat. What happened? That was not what was envisioned, was not even thought of that this is a possibility. But if you step back from it and say, well, haven't we seen it happen before to anyone else? How did we think that it won't happen to me and it's only happening to the others? No. Think about it. It is the design of life. It is the nature of existence. But you don't see it. You only focus on what? Mitha karke khaya. And then, kauda upajaya sad. In every aspect of life. I don't have a job. I need to find a job. Fine. Now you found a job. Now your boss likes you, but your colleague doesn't like you. Now you have a pressure. What did I get into? Why can't I make a living in a peaceful environment? Why is the God so unfair to me? Why is the life so unfair to me? What I have done. I just last week ran into an environment where somebody asked that question, that a 2.5-year-old daughter fell into the pool. By the time they got to her, she went into coma. The family had a newfound wealth. They are self-made billionaires. Decided to literally create a hospital within the home. For 7.5 years, they took care of that girl in coma. And on her 10th birthday, she died. So this very rich man is asking me, can you explain to me why bad things happen to good people? And I said, that's the problem right there. Why bad things happen to good people? That's the problem. Because you already have a preconceived idea of what is good, what is bad, who's good and who's bad. You already have preconceived labels. And I asked him, I said, would you have thought of this question 10 years ago? He said, no. So why not? Well, dollar was becoming to 10, and 10 was turning into 1,000, 1,000 were turning into millions, millions were turning into billions. I was too busy. Okay. So is there such a bad thing happening to you that you can today sit down with all your billions and ponder over what's life all about? If the nature needed to give you a jolt, without that jolt, would you have ever sit down by yourself and ask, what is the life all about? And go in a search of some sort. seek out. I said, I never thought it that way. He said, who took care of that little girl? I said, my wife. Did some beautiful quality come out of that human because that human was taking care of another sick human? He said, now you mention it, I developed a very, very strong respect for female species because I didn't know that they had that patience and that big heart, because I couldn't do it. And she was doing it day in, day out. And suddenly I developed a very strong respect. Would that have been done before that? So no, I always thought female gender is much weaker, much inferior than the male gender. Oh, so by your own admission, that one catastrophic event actually turned your belief upside down about how the women are. You don't see it as a grace, you see it as a punishment. Think about it. If you are going to build a new building, you have to first destroy the old. And that's what the nature does. If it's going to build anything new, it's going to strike the old one down without shedding a tear. Why? Because it needs to build it. If my arteries needed to be cleaned up, I needed to have a heart attack so that the doctor can open my body up and look inside. How else it was possible? Without having a heart attack, which is catastrophic, which is driving me closer to the deathbed, so that the doctor can say, well, let me take a look into deeper. Why is he having a heart attack? Aha, there is an artery block, so let's open him wide and clean that thing up and put him back together. How is it possible without it? Why are we not as sensitive and appreciative of the negative? Why are we so always stuck on the positive when we know positive cannot exist without the negative? It has no existence without it. But we don't see the life as a total one. We sit in judgment. We label it, categorize it. Pardon me. Somebody was telling me, when you say these things, you think you are better than the others. I didn't say I'm better. I just said look at a different way of looking at it. It doesn't make me any higher, lower, different than anybody else. This is a different model. Gurbani forces you. Metaphysics, mysticism forces you to look at the life differently. That's all. Good and bad, higher and lower are the labels that we have chosen. There are no labels. So stop focusing on. Understand, so long as you are trapped in the drama of the outer world, this will happen. Which is, Mitha karke khaya, kauda upajaya sad. You are not going to be allowed to exist in this life and only see one side of it. Not possible. You will have to see both. Because without both, neither one exists. You cannot appreciate the sunlight if you have not had the darkness. It's impossible. Human body just doesn't allow it. But you insist on it, and then what happens? He said, this is what happened to you. Bhai, meet, surid kiye, bikhya, rachya, baag. You don't accept it. So what you do? You keep on collecting things around you. Which is, bhai means brothers, relatives. Meet means friends. Surit, acquaintances. You think that it is happening to you because you just haven't seen enough. You haven't collected enough. Well, this wife is no good, let me get another one. And suddenly you find, well, the toy might have changed, but the game remains the same. This relationship has this set of complexity, that relationship have a different set of complexity, but you never got rid of that complexity. Because that's the design of life. You're only replacing one problem with another. That's all. You're just replacing one toy with the other. Just as a child you were playing with the dolls. They were made of cloth or plastic. Well, today you're playing the dolls made of flesh and bones. Game remains the same. Just replace the toy. A 49-cent car was good enough to a 2 years old, but even a $49,000 car may not be enough today. That's all. Game remains the same. So what is happening? It says, because you are not waking up that fact, Khaeya rachya baad. Khaeya means the poisonous. Bik. This zahar. Poison. The whole of the life model continues getting poisoned with a slow poison because you are not waking up from the fact that you are locked in the outer dimension, and the outer dimension only plays in duality, and you keep on insisting, I am going to take only one side. I am just going to take the sweet one. See? And you find the children doing that to you all the time. Son, don't do this. This will happen. Well, what's the guarantee it will happen to me? I'm smarter than you. I'm going to watch out for all the traps that you did not watch out. Okay. And then when you get to my age, then you say, I wish my father was here, I could tell him you were right. Even though I watched for all the things that you didn't, I still have the same end result. You were right. Because life does not play favors to anybody. It teaches the same lesson. Absolutely mercilessly. It will play no favors. And that's... Now, it sounds so cruel to tell a father that your daughter's death was actually a message from the beyond for you not to continue running in the direction of amassing billions, but take a step back and look at the life. And today, you heard my name from some friend of a friend of a friend, and you wanted to ask me a question like this. Would you have even thought of this? A question of that nature before? That's how the nature teaches you. That's the nature's way. If you don't hear, if you don't learn without creating a stress in your life, then the nature will say, okay, since you have not heard it, you read it, but it didn't got through to you. Now I'm going to create some stress so that you take a pause. And if you don't pay attention to it, guess what? Next time the stress level is going to be a little higher than the previous one. And the nature will keep on ratcheting it a little higher. Every time it will come back with a little higher, little bit more stress, so that the mind-body system pays attention to the message. And we are getting this message without the stress today. And the hope is that we will listen. And Gurbani says, look, you are not listening. What you are doing? You are collecting around you the same things which are actually going to turn into the same bitterness. Bhai, meet, surid kiye. And what happens to that? Khaeya rachya baad. You are creating the cause for a poisonous, Bad means arguments back and forth, Bad Vivad. Right? It's nice to have a good brother, but only as long as he's a good brother. And when he says, I want my 50% share, no, the same good brother doesn't sound too good anymore. Right? Well, he's only asking the rightful. And then we argue, which half is a bigger one? Look at the statement. Even though it is a half, isn't by definition half supposed to be equal? No, but the usual question is, which half is the bigger one? I want that one. Now that brother is no good anymore. And Gurbani says, it always been that way. It's not just for you. And it will continue to be so. It will not change for anyone. Understand, Jande bilamana hovi venanave bisma. All that you are collecting, they are all subject to the time and space limitation. And what is that? Anything that's created will eventually go. It will not stay with you forever. It cannot. Now, it's not its nature. It's not design. It's not the destiny. You have to accept it. You have to surrender to it. Jande bilam na hovai. You would not be able to stop it. When its time comes, it will go. So, what should you do? Turn around. Go inward. मेरे मन सतगुरु की सेवा लाग. Satguru means the one, the messenger from the beyond. Listen to it.
A second part sentence that Jande bilam na ho.
Jande, that which is in Nashwan,
Hanji.
it will go. Bilam na hoye, tan pata nahi lagna. You would not be able to stop it.
And second half.
And Benanave Bismat, without that word, without that name, everything, you will just be surprised by it. Bismat chale jana, ek hi ho gaya. How did it happen? Just as that young man was asking, how did it happen? Build a mansion of a house, and the pool was there. It was supposed to be made for the young child to play around, not to drown in. It was never even envisioned. And when it happened, that's Bismarck. What happened here? Why?
This Bismad with the Baba is the same as the one with the Wawa, same meaning?
Yeah. Vismad di avastha hundi hai when you cannot explain anything. When you cannot put it into words. That's why, see that, the one that you're talking about, Vismadhanad Vismadabhed, right? Means what? That if you start thinking of just the quality of the sound, right? You cannot even count the variety of the sound. Every human voice is different. So what do? You go into Vismad, you go into complete speechless pattern and say, wow. So myself, that you may be sitting behind a closed door and somebody is walking up to your door without opening the door, just by the sound of the walk, you can say, so and so is coming. पैरां दी आहट चाल तो पता लग जाता. So how do you explain it? You don't. And what you go into Visma. So when these things happen to you, or you can say, well, why? You go into the state of non-verbal explanation, and you are just awestruck. So those things, they go away, you would not be able to catch them. The only thing that you have a possibility of ever catching is what? His word, the noun. Because that doesn't go anywhere, that doesn't come from anywhere, it is a only constant in human life. Is the word of the Creator. मेरे मन सतगुरु की सेवा लाग, जो दिसे सो विलसना मन की मत त्याग. Which is what we started our conversation with. We were saying, you see, as Pratma was saying, isn't this body a temple? Well, it has been used that way. The word this is a physical explanation. It is a metaphor. You cannot take it literally. You cannot get over attached with it. Because if it is, because God lives in this one, because it is a temple, now let me start worshipping the body. Suddenly you are on the wrong path rather than on the right path. Yes, it is a gift given to you. Take care of it. Don't abuse it. Don't misuse it. But that doesn't mean that get so attached to it that when it's time to go, then now you don't let it go. That's why I'm very hesitant to take these so-called, colloquial wisdoms and give them so much significance. Because they are not. You have to put them in the right perspective. And that's what Bani is saying here. Put it into perspective, which is, Jo dise so venasana. Anything that you see, and your eyes can see, your ears can hear, your lips can taste, they are all temporary in nature. Venasana means they are subject to the destruction, subject to death. Don't hold on to it. Man ki mat tyag means what? You have been told. That's what man di mat is. We have collected this information from the books and the society and the parents and the universities. And it sounds so good. And then you get distracted completely because you take it literally. Body is a vehicle to be used in the service of higher dimension. It's not to be worshipped. It's not to be pampered. It is to be used. It's to be put into service. But the mind-body system will say, oh, wait a minute, let me enjoy this body itself. And when you go in that dimension, you start creating a gap between your inner and your outer. And instead of reducing the gap, it will keep on increasing. Which is what is the observation of the entire Western experiment over the last at least 2 centuries. Western and European mind has suddenly realized that because they were chasing the outer, the inner kept on becoming more and more silent. And if some of you remember the revolution that took place in this country in the 60s and 70s, remember that hippie movement? Flower children? That was a direct cry for help. Because the gap between the outer and the inner was becoming unbearable. So they were saying, space out there. What is out there? Something more than the money can buy here. Now, those who at that time were taken under the guidance of some spiritual masters, they became spiritual masters themselves. And those who didn't, they literally lost their lives. Because they knew there is something out there beyond there, but how did they try to get there? Using psychedelics. But those who eventually came under the guidance of meditators, they said you can go there without the help of psychedelics. There is another path, there is another technique, there is another way to get there. You can go to those spaces, yes, they exist. But those who didn't, they ended up into this. Jo dise so vinsana man ki mat tyag. They could not get rid of the knowledge that is from the outer world. And what happened? Something that was so beautiful became so ugly for them. How it became ugly? That's the next line. Jo kukar har kaya dhave. Kukar literally means a dog. Harkaya means the dog that has gone mad. So what happens to a mad dog? He runs around biting everything that he sees. Just when mind does not accept the reality of the inner existence, it behaves like a mad dog. And then what does a mad dog do? Dhave deh dis jai. It's running around in different directions in the hope of getting rid of that madness. And it cannot, because it's looking out there and the madness is in here. Out there it cannot find anything. So, actually they conducted a very interesting experiment. They took a perfectly healthy dog and put him inside a cage which had mirror all around. And the mirrors were staggered at angles. So what happens to the dog now? He thinks he's surrounded by so many dogs. And as he barks, he hears the bark back. Because he thinks that they are all ready to attack him. So he goes to attack them and he perceives that he's being attacked. And they found that the dog literally killed himself by hitting against the wall made of glass, the mirror. Because dog could not distinguish. And the objective of that experiment was, that's what happens to the human mind. When it is trapped with its own reflection, it keeps on fighting its own reflection. It cannot get out of it. Till somebody can take and pull you out and drop those mirrors and say, you are only fighting your own image. You are not going to win this battle. That's the illusion the mind gets trapped in when it is into the game of this wealth. And Gurbani says, that's what has happened. Jo kukar har kaya dhave dad jo kukar har kaya dhave dad jaye lobhi jant na jaan le bhak abhak sab khaye. See, that's what happened to the mind. Why is the metaphor of dog used here? Dog has only one weakness, and that's the greed. No matter how much food you give to the dog, it never says, I'm done. A dog never says, I'm done. I have had enough food. Dog has one very good quality, and that is the faithfulness to the owner. It has a very bad quality, and that's the greed. And so human mind catches that greed part. As that young man was telling me, the dollar turned into 10 and 10 turned into 1,000, 1,000 turned into a million, a million turned into a billion, and I am on my way. Never to come back. Because now, the society compares the billionaires, right? Forbes publishes the list of billionaires and who is on that 400 list, how the people are going up and down on that ladder. Who is the highest on that ladder? It's a never-ending game. And you fall into that trap. Have I gone a notch up on that list or I'm down? It doesn't matter anymore now that I'm a billionaire. Now that billion has become totally secondary. Now what's relevant? Where I am on that list of the 400 richest billionaires. That's the game of the dog mind. It keeps on striking against its own self, never realizing that I am looking at my own mirror. And what happens? Lobhi jant na jaane. That greedy mind is now trapped, it will never come back. And what will happen? Bhak sab khaye. Whether it is genuine or not, whatever needs to be done will be done, regardless of the consequences. Who I need to step on, who I need to trample, who I need to get out of business, who I need to buy off, win off, it would not matter any longer. I need to be on the top of that list. And that game will never end, because by the time you get to that top, somebody push that top up. You stay down again. And the game continues. Why? Because Kam, Krodh, Mad, Vyapya. That's the reason. Mad. Mad means the nasha, the intoxication. It is an intoxication of what? Kam means vasanama, desires. And to fulfill those desires, you apply any rule. You use any means. You will not back off. Because now you are trapped into that drama. It has its own momentum. Something like that would then, in nature, if it wants to wake you up, it will shake you up by creating a sudden tragedy. We all know another Indian friend who flew so high in the early days of this revolution of PC revolution. New computer came. We know Tandon, we all have met him, we knew him, how quickly he flew into the stratosphere. And then sudden crash. All factories shut down, bankruptcies, this and that. Seen the height and sudden crash. And there are so many stories like that. And it is happening around us all the time. Yet, we do not take a pause and say, well, what is the nature trying to tell us? Gurvani said, this is what is happening to you. It's trying to tell you, if you do not get out of this Kam, Krodh, Mad, Vyapya, it is surrounding you all around you. If you don't, what is going to happen? Phir jo nahi paaye. You have now fallen into the trap of die, be born, die, be born, die, be born. You are now into the cycle of life and death, into a perpetual cycle. It will not end. Why? Because this is the whole game. Maya jal pasarya bhitar chog banaye. Trishna pankhi phasya niksana paaye mai. That's the whole game. That's the whole drama. Maya, the illusion. For what? Jal pasarya. The nature had created this game. Bhitar chog banaye. खान पीने का इंतजाम कर देता तेरा जोगा पाया है तेरा and you keep on into that trap. How you fall into the trap? Trishna pankhi phasya. Like a little bird who sees the only the food. How is a bird caught from, right? The guy brings a little net, throws the net on the ground, and then he throws the seed, the food. So what does the bird see? He has no idea there is a net also. He only sees the food, the seed, and he comes flying down. As soon as he sits down, the guy catches it and the net, ties the net together and take all the birds. So that's what is happening to you. The nature throws these little feed toward you. What you don't see, the net. Only see the feed. Trikhna, pansi, fakya, nikas na paaye jai. Now you're trapped in the net. And then you wonder what happened. Well, nothing happened. You needed to see the net, not just the seed. You are being shown the net by all of the mystics who have come on this planet, and whether they wrote in Punjabi or they wrote in English or they wrote it in Arabic, it doesn't matter. They pointed out, this is the net, watch out. But very willingly we ignore the net, and then what happens? Jin kita tise na jane, fir aave jaye. Fall into the trap of cycle of life and death. What's the creator? Once the creator created this drama, it also sent the messengers of various times, space, saying, this is the drama. If you do not want the drama, you can get out of it. But if you stay in the drama, then the true law of the drama is you are going to have to taste both sweet and the bitter. You cannot get rid of the one and just keep the other. If you want to get rid of the bitter, guess what? You're going to have to also go beyond the sweet. And there's like the problem. There's like the dichotomy. We keep on insisting, well, I am smarter than the other one. They were not able to, I'm going to make it happen. And each one of us eventually learn Ankar Prakari Mohya Bahvid E Sansar Jisnu Rakhe So Rahe Samarat Purk Apar Harjan Harlev Udhare Nanak Sad Balahar. Anak Prakari, meaning in different ways the bird, human bird, is trapped into the illusion of the play. Right. Someone is trapped by the taste, someone is trapped by the sight, someone is trapped by the sound, someone is trapped by the touch, but there are different ways to trap. I still remember when I was a young man coming out of the college and I got a job in Bombay to sell heavy machines. And the customers will come from all part of the country to buy heavy machines. But every one of them had different desire, what they wanted to do in Bombay. Away from the family, away from the society. Somebody just wanted to have, get me to the best whiskey bar so that I can have the drink of my life. Somebody wants, I want to see the shooting of so-and-so actors. And we had the salesman who had the connection in each one of these areas. So we'll find out as to this customer's what is his basic desire. He has come to Bombay, what he wants to do. And we'll supply them that. The business will be discussed the next day. And I used to wonder, why is that? Never found the answers till I got in this. Each one of us has some weakness, and then nature pulls us into that direction and we fall into that trap very willingly then. And today Gurbani is pointing out If you want to stay trapped, then understand Anka Prakari Mohaya. The nature has whatever it will pull you in, it will provide you with that. Bahubid ehe sansar, in different ways in this world, there are traps for the human mind body system. So, what to do then? It's about Jisnu rakhe so rahe. Seek that blessing, seek that grace, so that you can see the trap of the nature and cut it out the trap, so that you do not have to repeat the cycle of what? Another life, another birth, another death. Who are those who can get out of that? Say, Har Jan Har Lev Udhre. Then instead of getting attached with the outer world, they get attached with what? Har Jan Har Lev. Their attachment is with the Creator. And when they get attached with the Creator, they are able to go beyond the cycle of life and death. How do they do that? Nanak Sad Bal Har. They surrender. They har jande ne apne pan. They surrender to the ultimate creative energy, and they go into those meditative states with His grace. Otherwise, the drama goes on. What is the drama? Goel aya, goeli kiya tes duff pansar. Goel, bajigar. They create the drama around it. Pinda vich jande ne. They go into the villages and the closest here would be the traveling circus. They go from place to place to place and they set up the environment and then they entertain. They spread this all around it and they create entertainment for the mind-body system. उन्होंने ਨੂੰ गोयल किया जाता है.
Banjare?
Banjare. That's another term for it. Goel aya goeli. And what did he do? Kiya this dump pasar. They spread all their illusions around, and what happens to the mind? It gets trapped into that and forgets. What? What does it forget? Mohalat punni chalana. That's what they forget. That all dramas have a fixed lifespan. Doesn't matter how enjoyable the drama is. Eventually the drama is going to have to come to an end. And once the drama comes to an end, then what happens? Everybody goes away. And suddenly there is a vacuum created. Have we not ever experienced in our own life that when suddenly some friends come, they stay with us on a vacation and we are so busy and enjoying it so much, and then suddenly everybody packs and leave, and then you come back to your own home. Now what happens? You want to run out of suddenly there is a vacuum, right? We feel strange in our own home. Why? Because there was a certain energy created because of that noise, because of that presence. Now, while that energy was being created, if we remembered that this is not permanent, they are going to go. I better not get attached to this. I better not get used to this. Then when they leave, we wouldn't feel that vacuum. But if we don't, we get carried away with the same energy. Forgetting कि मोहलत पुन्नी चलना. Mohalat means the time that was fixed for, that duration that was fixed. Once it is done, punni means it's complete. Chalana, everybody is going to go. Tu sambal karbar. Had we not forgotten it, we would be able to stay at the even key. But we don't. So how do you keep that even key? Here is a method for that. हर गुण गाओ मना सतगुरु सेव प्यार, क्या थोड़ी बात गुमान. While you are watching the drama, instead of getting attached with that drama, if you remember the ultimate creator, stayed attached with that, then this drama would not have effect on you. Har gun gao mana. Stay attached with that while the outside world is going. You will not be impacted. Otherwise, think, क्या थोड़ी बात गुमान, क्या छोटियां छोटियां गल्लां दा हंकार करदा पे. How small and irrelevant these things are, and your ego goes up. These are my friends, these are my relatives, my parents were visiting me, my brother was visiting me, and suddenly the brother goes away, and now what? Is this something to be proud of? Is this something to be egoistically attached with it? No, these are all temporary phases of life. Look at them for what they are. What are they? जैसे रैन परहोने उठ चल से प्रभात, क्या तू रता घृत सो सब फुल्ला की बागात. What a beautiful way to explain it. जैसे रैन परहोने. A guest comes in, spends a night. Ran, prahana, a guest, ran, a night. Comes for a night, then what happens? Uth challe prabha. Morning comes in, because he was a guest, he's going to go. Similarly, kya tu rasta grist se ho? Whole of the family life, husband, wife, children, all of that is what? Fulla ki bagat. Just as there are flowers in the garden. How long do they stay? For a season. Isn't it? We have this saying, people come for a season or for a reason. Nobody comes for life. Either they come for a season or for a reason. Nobody comes for life. Think about it. Season. The child is born, is going to grow to a certain age, and then going to make his own life and then go away. That's it. Or for a reason. You make partnership, and partnership goes a certain length, and then the partnership dissolves. There are only two ways of creating these relationships, either a reason or a season. What we try to do, we take both, try to make them into for a life thing, for a lifelong. That's why when the relationship breaks, whether the nature breaks it or we break it, we feel so much pain and we cry so much and we suffer so much because we thought it's going to be forever. But nothing is. So, if we were to ever remember that one eternal law, that nothing is forever, our quality of life will change. What is it? Fulla ki bagat. Just as the flowers are for a season, they come, the garden absolutely looks beautiful, and then the season goes away, same garden, all the flower drops, and the cycle will repeat. If we just remember that, what will happen? मेरी मेरी क्या करे जिन दिया सो प्रभ लोड़, सर पर उठी चलना चढ़ जासी लख करोड़. You would not be then saying, this is mine, this is mine, this is also mine, this is मेरी क्या करे. Then you wouldn't be able to say it. Because nothing is yours, everything is temporary. Yours means that you can literally own it. But you don't own anything, everything changes. We have talked about this. This argument this is my body. I should be able to do what I want to do, right? I mean, isn't that the argument about this problem this country is going through about the abortion? My body. Is it? Something that you own, you have full control over it. Do we have our control over our bodies? Then we should be able to stop it from getting sick, at least. From getting old, at least. But it doesn't follow any one of our instructions. Forget it, it doesn't even fall asleep when we want them to sleep, right? Try to say, shut up and go to sleep. Try doing that. You own your body? What an illusion. We own nothing. These are all gifts given to us by some higher source, and we just don't pay attention to it, and we keep on saying, and Gurbani says, why? Mary, kya kare? Jin diya. This is a gift given to you. Somebody gave you this gift. Go find that one. Look for it. Sopra Lord. Seek it out. Where this gift came from. Remember, sar par uthi chalana. Someday, this gift will be taken away from you. And this gift may have collected millions and billions here. It would not be able to take it with it. Lakh 84 bharam detiyan dulab janam payoe nanak naam samal tu so din neda ayoe. Understand this, that after a whole cycle of the growth and the evolution process, you have been given a human body form. Lakh 84 bharam detiyan dulab. It is a extremely valuable gift of human body. So use this event, make use of that time and space, so that by using this body you can then evolve to such a level that you can also become a Buddha, you can also become a Christ, you can also become a Nanak, and you can go beyond the cycle of life and death. And that is what Gurbani keeps on pushing us. So then neda ayoe. It's not too long. After 70, 80 years on the cosmic scale is but a fraction. So insignificant. So if you can't even take to heart a simple message like this, then you can, in the next hymn, it will actually then alert further, saying, Picture vasse sohelari jiccher sathi naal ja sathi uthi chalya ta tan khakur raat. Understand that this gift, as long as that gift is with the body is valuable. Once that gift is taken away, what can you do with the body? So long as that, we fall into these linguistic traps so easily. He is talking, I'm listening. Right? I mean, how simple it sounds. He is talking and I'm listening. Is it a reality? Am I talking? Can I really talk? Do I have the capability to talk? Do you have the capability to listen? Think about it. Isn't there something else talking and someone else listening? Isn't there something beyond all of this? I have no capability. That energy which is All you see is these lips moving, that's all. But there's something behind this, isn't it? What is that? Which is something behind? It is that which needs to be focused on. Not the lips moving, not the sound traveling, not the eardrums interpreting the sound. But there is the energy that's making this all happen. That needs to be focused on. So, may He give us the strength and the wisdom to focus on that, which is beyond the words, beyond the energy. So we will take a pause here, and since I'm traveling on 22nd, so I propose that we meet next week. That way we will not miss another cycle.
Yeah, that'd be okay.
Okay, so then instead of making
No, yeah.
2 weeks, we can meet in 1 week.
I had also suggested that same.
Meet next week.
It's only 5 after, if you want to do one more.
If you were to continue, it's not information overload.
No, I still have.
It was quite enjoyable.
Okay,
We can cover one more.
we are going to cover one more hymn. Teacher Vasse Soheladi. What is Soheladi? Saheli, Sati means what? Human body. Human body has a value only until Jichar Sathi Nal. That energy. So long as that energy is there, only then the body is valuable, isn't it? If that energy is taken away, then this body can be just sitting here. What are you going to do with it? Which is what I was saying. We fall into the linguist trap. So and so is speaking. Nobody can really speak. Sabhe ghat Ram bole. Something else is speaking through that body. Body cannot speak. It's an illusion. It's a trap. Wake up. See through it. Nobody can speak. Only He speaks through the body. Which is what is being said here. Teacher Vasse Soheladi. As long as that energy, Jichar Sathi Nal, that energy is, the body is meaningful. Otherwise, Jahan Sathi uth jalya, once that energy goes out, Taan Dhan Khakural. Then this body is only useful to the earth. Whether you bury it or burn it, still part of the earth. Khaku means dust. Ral means Rajana, become a part of it. This body, this vehicle has a value only because Sathi andar baitha hua hai. Because that energy is still inside, manifesting itself. That's why there is so much fight and argument, because this simple message has not been understood. The life form is there in every cell of the human existence. Life form is there. It is a mistake that even the medical profession says, well, for 6 weeks of the conception, the fetus is not alive. What an illusion. If fetus wasn't alive, it couldn't be a fetus. Both these cells, male and female, have complete life. All we are saying is that the machine is not mature enough to manifest it. It's not any different than this television is not manifesting right now because the power is turned off. Then it can be tuned on. The energy is already in the air. We just don't see it. Why? Because it's not tuned to that television station that's transmitting it. But the energy is there. Just because this is not manifesting doesn't mean the energy is gone anywhere. Just because the body is not ready to manifest the energy, life energy, doesn't mean the life energy isn't there. Life energy is always there, everywhere, inside, outside, up and down, right and left, doesn't matter where you want to look at. So for us to say, well, this body is being killed. No. The egg also has the life. It's not just the chicken. Chicken just manifests it, that's all. It's not unlike that television. It's always there. Which is what Gurbani is saying. Picture was said. So long as it's manifesting, the body has meaning. To the world, body becomes meaningless because there is nothing to manifest now. But the form is always there. But to the body, what happens? When that form, when that energy is removed, what happened? Jaan saathi uthi chalya ta dhan khakura. Take this body, bury it, or burn it, drown it, doesn't matter what happens. Throw it to the animals, the birds, and let them eat it up. It will totally be meaningless because it was only meaningful while that energy was manifesting through it. So the argument about the abortion being a murder or not is completely meaningless because they really don't understand. Life did not start at 6 weeks. Life is always there. Because without life, nothing can start. Nothing is. The sperm has a life, the female egg had the life, they mated, and now they are creating a machine which will manifest it in different form, that's all. And in that, when that machine stops manifesting the life, machine is useless. So, once you understand that, what happens to you? Say now, you really want to see that energy. What that energy is? Man bairag bhaya. Why? Darshan dekhne ka chaho. Once that becomes clear to you, that there is an energy that's making this all happen. No, a sudden urge comes in. I want to experience that. I want to know it for not intellectually anymore. I want to manifest it while I can see it, feel it, know it. And you certainly go into a certain state of bairag. There is no equivalent word in English. It's a certain pang of separation. Because now you feel it is there, but I have never actually experienced it. That pain of not knowing is different than sadness. It's different than pain. That's why the word bairag is so powerful. That I do not find an equivalent word in English language here.
Melancholy.
Huh?
Just a band of separation is good.
Yeah, it is. You really, for the first time, experience that yearning, that pain, and say, there is something out there. It was always there. I was just not aware. Now I'm intellectually aware. I want to now experience it. I want to become part of it. I want to know it. I want to taste it. मन बैराग भया दर्शन देखने को चाओ धान सो तेरा था. What is that state? Must be very, very blissful state, to which is called Sat Chit Anand, where there is no pain, there is no separation, there is no frustration, right? There is no right, no wrong, there is good, no bad, nothing. All just isness. I want to experience that isness. This gentleman I was telling you earlier about belongs to Muslim background, Muslim family.
And then Qureshi, he was the chair on the AST.
Now for them, and you know, because Quran starts with that the God is all merciful and all graceful. And that's the foundation. And I was sharing with him that you cannot assign a humanistic characteristics to that energy. And he said, why not? So therein lies the problem. Because grace and mercy has its opponent, which is judgment. If there is a forgiveness, then there is a punishment. And he's neither. If you insist he is graceful, then someday you will also say, well, he is punishing so and so for this crime, which is what the problem is. Becomes hell and a heaven. If there is a heaven, then there is a hell. Then you have to accept the opposing energy also.
Isn't that true that for realized soul everything is a blessing? Nothing ever bad ever happens? Unless you...
It cannot be. For a realized soul, there is no duality. For a divine, there is no duality. That's the whole idea. That's what this line is saying. What do you want to see? Because I have just come to realize that there is an energy. There is a state of existence which is beyond the duality, which is beyond the pain and pleasure, which is beyond the sweet and bitter. What is that? And he said, I cannot perceive it. I cannot conceive that state. I said, well, I know it's difficult to put in words, but let me give you an example. Maybe it will help you to understand it. It's a one sun comes up. Envision that a ray of sun is touching the cold water, is touching the hard stone, and is touching also the garbage dump. I said, can you visualize in a village in Pakistan that you're walking side of the river? Because this is exactly the metaphor Krishnamurti used. Is that ray of sun getting wet because it's touching the water? No. Is it getting hurt because it is hitting the stone? No. Is it getting dirty because it's touching the garbage dump? No. Is it running away from all of them? Or any one of them? No. Is it getting their characteristics? Any one of them? Say no. That's creativity for you. touching but not getting affected. The water is getting heated because the sun is touching, but the sun is not getting cold because the water is touching it. That's the creativity, nature of the creation. Creator does not have the characteristics of the physical dimension. It cannot have. Otherwise it's not a creator. It's got limited. And that's why there is so much of a problem today in the Islamic world, because they cannot solve that dichotomy themselves. They created it. They can't solve it. Just as Christianity cannot solve the problem. If there is an angel and there is a devil, then who created the devil? He created it? Okay, then he wanted it. That's a drama. If he didn't want the devil, and devil needs to be punished, or devilish characteristics need to be punished, then why create it? If God is going to be unhappy because there is a devil, why have it? If I am going to be punished because I made this choice, then why give me the choice? Why not make it impossible? If I am always going to be happy with the non-devilish choices, and I am the God, why have the devil? Be happy. Don't create the devil. But that's not the case. It is a trap of my mind, because my mind can exist only in duality. It's my creation, not God's creation. Good and bad is not God's creation. Good and bad is my creation. God just created, without any label, without any judgment, without any preference. These are just choices. Make this choice, this result. Make that choice, that result. That's it. इसलिए गुरबानी said वो निर्लेप है, untouched, beyond, transcendent, no value judgment. The flower exists along with the thorn, they are equally important. Saint exists next to the sinner, they are equally important. It's only to the human mind. Sinner is bad and the saint is good. And Gurbani says, once you got that, now you're going to go into Bairag. Now you would want to be like that. Now you want to experience that state. Is there such a state? Yes. Can I get there? Yes. Has anybody ever been there? Well, that's what enlightenment is all about. What does an enlightenment mean? Now there's light. Now you see it. Now you see the total reality as it is, rather than as you think it should be. Because I can guarantee you, whatever you think should be is part of the same duality. Because you will have the opposing force. Once you are there, then man bhairag bhaya, darsana dekhane ka chao. Now you want to experience that Sat Chetana. Now you want to become a Brahmagyani. Now you want to become a Buddha. Now you don't want to be a Jesus anymore. You want to be a Christ. But you have to see that difference. We don't even see that difference. Once you see it, Jichar Vasya Kant Ghar Jio Jio Sabka Haat, you will see that the value is only of this body. Kado tak? Jichar Vasya Kant Ghar. As long as that energy is there, everybody will respect. You are alive. ਕੰਧ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ। ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਹੋਵੇ ਤੇ ਇੱਜ਼ਤ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਰੀਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਹੈ, ਜਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚਿਰ ਹੀ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਸਰੀਰ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਲ ਹੈ। ਜਿਚਰ ਵਸਿਆ ਕੰਤ ਘਰ, metaphor of husband and wife. The household is respectable as long as the husband is alive. When the husband is gone, you don't get the same respect. जा उठे चलसी कंतड़ा, कोई ना पूछे तेरी बात. This culture may not be able to relate with that, but in our culture we know that a woman who loses the husband certainly does not carry the same respect in the village. So the metaphor is, who's the kant here? Who's the husband? The God. Who's the wife? The body. Independent of whether it's a male or a female body is irrelevant. Gurbani doesn't make that distinction. The body has a significance, value, so long as that creative energy is inside. Right? I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's a female whose soul has been taken away or it's a male. They both end up eventually the same org. Okay, and that's what body is. जहाँ उठी चलसी कंतड़ा, ता कोई ना पूछे तेरी बात, पीड़े सौ सेव तू सोहरे सुख बस. Another metaphor. Pede means the house of the father. Pede saho sevatu. If you have learned the technique, if you have learned the methodology, if you have developed the characteristic how to serve the husband, then what will happen? Sohorade Sokhavas. Then the house of the father-in-law. Again, this is a pure Eastern concept. In the Western, when you get married, you go make your own home. It's neither your father's nor your husband's house. You have your own home. In the Indian culture, when the woman is married, they go to the house of the husband and they make a living there. And that's what is called Sauraka. Pekakar means the father's house. And so, how is that metaphor relevant? This earth is considered the house of your father. Who's the father here? The guru, the teacher, the master. Not the biological father. This is not to talk about the biological relationships. Saying that a soul here sits down with the master, the guru, and learn the meditative techniques which will help him to get back to that space over there and be accepted. Now, in our culture, the same thing happens. If the girl who's married comes to the household and has not had the good nature, good habits, picks a fight with the husband, what does the husband say? Go back to your father. I don't need you. She ends up going back. Now she cannot stay there. It's not allowed. So the father then will call few people and they will apologize from the husband and the parents and the father, and they will send back again. So go back. And she can't stay there again. She picks a fight again and then she's sent back again. So the whole life goes this way. So few months in this house, few months in that house, few months in this house, and that. Same thing happened to the human body. Comes over here, sits with the master, but doesn't learn properly. Go back and say, you haven't learned it. Get back. And that's what the life cycle is. Keep on getting born, die, born, die, born, die. And Gurbani says, you can cut this cycle out. You can get rid of it completely. How? PDA saw save tu. Learn the proper. Get to the state of consciousness in such a way that you will never have to come back again to this place. Sahore sukhvas. You can forever become part of the ultimate creative energy. The drop eventually drops into the ocean forever and never gets back. It's a total possibility. Gurmil chaja char sikh tud kade na lag gaya dukh. So what should you do? You say, Gurmil chaja achar sikh. You are here on this earth. Sit down with your master. Learn the meditation techniques. Raise your consciousness to such a higher state that you never have to come back again. That dukh is which one? The cycle of life and death. Sabana sahare vanjana. Sab mukalamanaha. Understand, just as a daughter can never stay forever with the father, you cannot forever stay on this planet. You have to go back. Sabana sahare vanjana. Everyone has to go back. Sabamukalamanaha. Everybody will be called back. Nanakatana sohagani. Jin sahanal pyar. Those are the blessed ones who have been all forever been accepted by that husband of us all, so that we are never coming back to this earth again. So that's the 1930.
Why is there so much emphasis in our in our religions to go beyond?
As I have indicated, Sikh religion is the first religion in the consciousness who took this mystery away. Other religion talk about only hell and heaven. And this religion talked about beyond hell and heaven. Saying, if you are living on this earth in the most enjoyable life, then this is the hell. If you are living and for ever pain, ever unhappy life, then this is the hell. And there's one more dimension. You can get rid of it forever and go beyond it. So to bring it down to a simple man's language and lay it out like this is the first experiment in consciousness done that way. Otherwise, as I said, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they didn't even talk about the beyond dimension. In Vedas, it is talked, but it is locked into the away from common man's language. It's in Sanskrit, known to very few, never perpetuated, never discussed openly. As a matter of fact, it is in the interest of the Brahman to not you, to give you that, right? You stay within the guilt, you pay.
That was old concept, I think. Just
Right.
thousands of years ago. It's not like that anymore.
I'm not sure that.
Still they are saying that.
Okay. You tell me, where is in Vedanta today the enlightenment preached? Give me a single master of the 20th century.
I don't
Including
know.
Shankaracharya.
I read Gita and it took
No,
me,
you read Gita and you understand and you know it. I'm talking about tell me where it's preached.
understanding is hard, but I read Osho books. He talks really everything very clearly. I mean, I don't see any difference between any religion. Of course, they have different models that we agree, but I see same thing in everything.
So, you still haven't answered the question. Tell me, what is the modern 20th century mystic who came out of Vedanta and preached Nirvana? Not a single one.
There are a lot
Including
of
Shankaracharya didn't do that.
people came. I mean,
Okay.
some people do not like come in public. I guess they keep very secret they stay within themselves. I know Swami Muktananda, I know Nisargadatta, I know
Yogendananda
Chinmayananda.
or Chinmaya only preached what's written in the Vedas. That's it. He was a teacher. It's not a mistake. Same as Rajneesh, a teacher. Not a mistake. He never claimed himself to be. Never declared himself to be.
But their messages are very clear.
Okay, yeah.
If you make an effort, I mean,
Yeah. And what I'm saying to you is that in Sikhism, 500 years ago, that message was put in common man's language, documented and declared that there is a dimension from the beyond. Yeah. The whole idea of taking the spirituality and put in common man's language was basically brought down here in Punjab for the first time. Otherwise, we know that there have been known examples that other than the born Brahmin could even listen or talk in Sanskrit. You know how much of tyranny existed in that part of the world. Right? You say not something undocumented. It's there. So when I say that, I am not just because I am born a Sikh.
no, that's okay.
I'm being partial to this. I'm saying that the comment that was made earlier, that so much emphasis on the beyond, it is heard for the first time in our common mental language, which wasn't there before in that.
It was 500 years ago.
Yeah?
You're talking about 500 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It wasn't there. Otherwise, Punjab de Shudra de kanve Sanskrit pehle to kanna je para padan de santere ke how dare you? Koi shloka pad jave de zaban ke lit ho dende san. And those are all documented. Even today, those things are happening. Shudra are not allowed to listen to Sanskrit or Vedavani.
But why is it important to go beyond? Why?
If you want to free yourself from the... No, it's not important. It's your choice. If you want to, you can go beyond the duality of life of suffering. Death and birth, that's all. It's a choice given.
For blissfulness.
And not everybody does. As a matter of fact, most of our... that's why Gurbani says, Tera jaan ek aadh koi.
You don't have to do anything.
What did
You are perfectly okay as you are.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do,
Yeah.
Sikhism doesn't condemn you for this.
Right.
Sikhism says if you want it, luck to you. Understand that this will happen to you. Mitha karke khaya, kauda upajya saag. If you are okay with it,
That's okay.
by all means, please do.
But you don't really know whether you're going to go beyond or you're going to come back or...
But you do know that.
you
But you
don't
do know that the kauda je mitha karke jehda khaya wo kauda banega. That you do know. You do know that you are born, you are going to get old. You don't know that today you are healthy, you are going to fall sick. You don't know you are born and you are going to die. Okay? Those things that you do know. Well, if you're okay with that, by all means go.
You don't have to.
Nothing,
Yeah.
no need to do anything.
Anything. Enjoy it.
If you're okay with that, then everything's fine. Don't complain. Mere gode ko do, why I have arthritis in my knees? Part of growing old.
But in reality, she's the only one who wanted to go beyond because she said only 5 past 9. So if you look at that concept, she's the only one interested.
No, I just wanted to, because other religions don't have that much emphasis on it as we do.
Hindu religion.
Other religion never ever. I keep repeating that to you. Our other religion never emphasized anything beyond hell and heaven.
Right.
That's it. Be a good human being, and that's enough. You are yes.
No, I said nirvana is probably a concept similar.
I wouldn't call it a concept
If the
because if it was a concept, then nobody would have ever achieved anything. right? Buddha is not a myth, right? If it was a concept, then enlightenment would be a complete myth, but it's not.
No, I mean in the sense to stop the birth and death cycle. That's nirvana. That's the goal. So going beyond is basically to stop the cycle.
For those who have not experienced, known, or tasted, I agree with that. But these words are not for those. These words are coming from those who actually have gone there, been there, seen that, known that. It's experiential. Yeah. So, because it's experiential, it tells us that there is definite possibility. However small, however rare it may be, but it's there. It's real. And as Mr. Mahajan points out, it was pointed out in Vedas as well. Unfortunately, it remained buried for thousands of years. Was never brought out in a common man's language.
I agree.
Even mentioned it. You couldn't even discuss it. A non-Brahman could not even recite a shloka. There were times they would be punished. So this was the first attempt that it was brought in a common man's language out and said, it exists and it's your birthright if you want to take advantage of it. Nobody can take that away from you. Whether you are a Shudra or a Brahman, it doesn't matter. Kabir was a Shudra. Devdas, Ravidas, Raidas, Namdev, they were all Shudras. Low caste.
Untouchables.
India had a class system that time.
India had a very strong, powerful class system. And all these messages were locked in, was not brought out. So the answer to your question is that this was the first serious attempt to let the common man know that there is another dimension available to human mind-body system.
I think Tao has said it beautifully. Transient is this world, like phantoms and dreams. Substance it has none. Renounce it, forsake your kin, cut the strings of lust and hatred, meditate in the woods and mountains. If without effort you remain loosely in your natural state, soon Mahamudra you will win and attain the non-attainable. Non-attainable because it's not that it's not attainable, because it cannot be attained by a person who has the goal, not with the goal oriented
Yeah.
people.
That's a mouthful.
Well, so long
You
as
said a lot of things in there.
well, I mean, what he's talking about, it's Taoism is a
Look at the meaning.
direct output of Buddhism
There's a lot in that.
after the Buddhism could not establish itself in India for about 1500 years of struggle. Then it had to leave India. It ended up putting its roots in China, and Tao was the first master.
It started in India though.
Huh?
Buddhism.
It started in, yeah, of course, but it didn't take roots in there.
Didn't sustain it.
It couldn't sustain itself.
What's the difference in a sadhu and a sannyasi?
कल हैगा जी
हाँ,
प्रोग्राम
कहाँ है?
3 बजे
वही 10 बजे.
Next Friday?
They are basically terminologies. Sadhu literally means the one who has done enough sadhana and he has achieved the highest state of consciousness. Sannyasi means the one who has left everything or detached himself from all worldly, which again leads exactly to the same space. So these are different terms.
Similar.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
She
Like,
wants
I was gonna get up and put it.
Okay, why?
Anything do you want to share with everybody?
Well, why is it difficult for people to want to have the meditative experience or even the nirvana experience? Why are most people content not to have that or know of that?
Have you heard the statement, one in his hand is better than two in the bush?
In other
That's
words,
right,
they're
exactly.
content with what they have.
Because the other one is completely unsure.
All exploration.
Nobody can give you a guarantee about the higher states of consciousness. But everybody will give you a guarantee. Give me $10, I invest in buy the stock of Microsoft, and tomorrow you will have 20.
So it's easier.
So I better buy the one because I know I'm going to get 20 tomorrow. That I'm sure. This one, I'm absolutely unsure. I do not know. So the mind gravitates toward surety rather than the uncertainty.
And material.
No, even if it is not material, even if it is non-material, because there is no assurance, there is no guarantee, there is no timetable with it. So mind gravitates with something that is secure.
That's physically attainable.
I mean, if you make, let's say that you make a friend, right? I mean, you know that if you make a friend today, you do good for him or he will do good for you tomorrow. Right? So you tend to lean on that more so, well, let me sit down here for 2 hours and see if my mind rises to any higher consciousness or not. And for 10 years you've done it and gotten nowhere else, well, for 10 minutes investment is easier than 10 years of total uncertainty. It has always been a problem with the metaphysics because it cannot guarantee.
So do you think karma, how does karma come into play?
It cannot even make a promise, much as a guarantee. It cannot even create a possibility.
I mean, all of us in this room obviously want to understand some. That's why we are here. I think it was pre-designed somehow for us to feel that.
Even if you were willing to start now, nobody can even create a probability that in your lifetime something will happen. So tell me, why would you invest the time then? If even within your own lifetime, right? Immediately the mind will immediately revolt, right? It will literally say, oh, wait a minute, not even in this lifetime? I don't know what the next lifetime is. At least give me some guarantee this lifetime. I said, There is absolutely no promise. Because your life journey is completely yours. And nobody knows where it started and where it's going to go. And how long it will take. Which direction it will take. An honest meditator would actually tell you exactly that. A dishonest might say, sit down here and I can take you there. Less than 5 years. An honest man would not. That's where the faith comes into play. If you have the faith in your higher self, then go. If you don't stop.
So it's not predestined that in this lifetime I meet you, I'm here, lights turn on somewhere.
These are all random events. I mean, you met me and you heard you could have completely gone away and never come back again. That's a choice available, right?
But the fact that she came back, others maybe did not.
Yeah.
So, has her choice been more of a spiritual seeker than the other people that did not come back?
Oh, I don't know.
Not at all. Not at all. All it says that she resonates here more than somewhere else. That's all.
Oh, why?
Your destiny, totally.
Destiny.
But predestiny,
No, it's your journey, completely your journey.
your choice. Then.
Because then somebody over there may be sitting and saying, see, you just wasted your time. Had you come to me, you would have gone far further. It's a total possibility. But right now, at this time and space, this is what your energy resonating with. You find this space. No experimental life is wasted. No event is a waste.
So you think when I come back in my next life,
So you're not going beyond?
if I don't go beyond, that I will be drawn to this more? Or do you think you... I think, yeah, you said something about the
Depends on your
seed.
degree of
See,
evolution.
the
Yeah,
problem
I
is that
know.
you're trying to control the result with the decision, and I have many times tried to
Yeah.
get that to you. Stop controlling the result.
No, I'm just
You
curious.
only have action in your control. What it takes to is not in anybody's control. You made a choice. Look up. And that's all you could control. Now, where it takes it further is neither in your control, my control, or anybody else's control. Only action is. Reaction is not. That's from the beyond. Whatever that is, that's a gift. Whether it helps you transcend from this life or brings you back from this life, no. And you may find out, oh, had I not gone there, I would have actually transcended it. Totally possible.
So you're making her not to come next time.
That's the meditator's journey has got to get this lesson through. Only choice is yours. That's it. The result is not. Never ever get, if you get caught into this dichotomy again, you'll go in circles. Should I do this? No. I want that. No, don't do that because that leads to that. Don't do that because that leads to that. You will always be in circular logic because it's never been determined that one action will always lead to the same result all the time for everyone. Doesn't happen. Somebody steals, is immediately caught. Somebody steals, is never caught. Somebody who's caught is punished. Somebody is forgiven. The same action. Right? You never know. You cannot. That's what Kabir says again and again. अपने कर्म की गत मैं क्या जानूं? मैं क्या जानूं बाबा रे? Say, how do I know what's going to be the end result of my action? No human can know. You think you're doing very good because you saved somebody who was just drowning? You saved him, he got out, he got mad with you, and go kill somebody else. No, was it such a nice thing to do to save him? How did you know? That he's a mass murderer, he's going to go and murder millions of them. What are you going to do? If a Hitler is drowning, do you know he's a Hitler? Should you not save him because he's drowning? Because he's a Hitler? Even if you knew, you still will end up saving him. The entire Gita, the whole of Gita is based on that one single message. Read the entire Gita. Single message. You cannot control the end. You cannot stop acting because you are worried about the reaction. The main character in that drama is Arjuna and Krishna, right? Now, Krishna is a mystic. Arjuna is a fighter. He has no desire of mysticism at all. All his life, he trained himself to be a fighter. Right? He's an archer. Now comes a time of fight. And he doesn't want to fight. Why? Because the person who's opposing him is his blood relative. So how can I kill my own people? What kind of war is this? Now his problem is not, see, the crisis he's going through has nothing to do with the metaphysics, spirituality. He's not trying to be a meditator. His only question is of a pure socio-cultural crisis because his opponent happens to be his cousin brother. And the answer he gets is purely spiritual. Krishna doesn't leave him there. He says, wait. You have trained all your life to fight. How do you know that the arrow you send out is definitely going to kill? Do you know that? If you shoot somebody, do you know if that person is really going to die? You are not the controller of life and death. So why are you becoming now one? You are just a fighter, so fight. You just shoot the arrow. Somebody gets hurt. Somebody dies out of it. Somebody just suffers out of it. Somebody lives out of it. Somebody loses. Somebody gains. How does it matter to you? You are a fighter. Fight. You only control your action, not the reaction. Stop playing the God. The reaction is in the hands of the God, not in the hands of the man.
You think at that time he was probably getting towards the spirituality?
No. If that was the case, he would not even have asked that question. He would have known the answer already.
So did he do that?
He was still struggling with the consciousness that should I kill my cousin brother or not.
So what happened?
Yeah, that's what I
He fights. More than 2 million people died in that war. But what I'm saying to you is that no matter which spiritual book you take, that's one message that drives very home strongly. Stop controlling the results. You cannot. Just make a choice. You will make the choice based on the data available to you at that time and space. And that's the best you can do. It doesn't matter how hard you try, you cannot make a choice when the data is not even there. So you have 5 choices, you're going to take a look at the 5 choices, you're going to say, this choice appeals to me. Just as today is a Friday, it's 8 o'clock, the choice of coming here appeals to me. You just make a choice. That's all. No. Will it help me to transcend my cycle of life and death? Nobody knows. Will I feel good after this? Nobody knows. Will I get more mad than I am now? Nobody knows. Will I feel happy? Nobody knows. Available data at that time determined the choice. That's it.